There have only been two 19-year-old players in the NHL that made it to 90 total points in a season faster than San Jose Sharks' Macklin Celebrini. And those are Wayne Gretzky and Sidney Oh, we're talking football. Combine fallers. Producer, hit that button. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. He is Grindberg. I am bigz. Schultzy's on the unos y doses. We're here today not to talk about hockey, although I am watching Macklin Celebrini on my big screen in front of me. More generational talent. Well, I'm a generational talent. We got Mike, who's a generational talent. Schultzy's a generational talent. And we're talking about guys who probably won't be generational talents at the quarterback or tight end, wide receiver, and running back positions based on their combine looks. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good, man. It's headed into the weekend, and we are ready to talk about the fallers that happened over the combine week. So, Schultzy, what are you up to, buddy?
Hey, not much. Another day on this side of the dirt's a good one, am I right?
Yeah. Quick update. It's 78 degrees here, and we are back to patio martini times. Love it.
Love it. Yeah. It's nice when the weather starts to shift.
Wait, I say what's it in Canada right now?
No, it's actually snowing right now. So
seriously. Yeah, my girlfriend left work. It was minus 30, and then it's gonna be like 90 here next week. So she had like a 100-degree shift.
That's wild.
That's wild. Yeah, that is not pleasant in any way. I'm sure that's a hard way for your body to adjust. So, yeah, it's an interesting thing that your wife does, traveling from place to place and from cold to hot. It's insane. But
speaking of bodies, let's get into these combine fallers. I'm going to talk about Diego Pavia.
Let's do it. Get into it.
So, I wrote up Diego Pavia for our rookie guide. Hey, go to FSAN merch store and get our rookie guide, the 2026 rookie guide. It's a fantastic piece of literature. We worked really hard on it. We wrote up all the guys that you need to know for your rookie drafts, and you're going to come out of there with a much better picture of what the rookie class looks like, who you should be targeting in your Dynasty drafts. If you don't play Dynasty, watch the Dynasty Pulse on Saturday. Shoot us a comment that you want to get a league open, and we'll put together a beginners league for people who've never played before. Anywho, don't draft Diego Pavia. When I was writing him up, I was looking over his stats and everything. And he started off as basically a combo quarterback. And you look at his completion percentage, 53% as a redshirt freshman. Not that great, 60 as a junior. Then he transfers to Vanderbilt, 59.4. And then he has a huge year, 70.6 completion percentage. He wound up being like the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, 29 touchdowns through the air. He's a rusher as well. Here's the thing. There has never been a quarterback in the NFL that has had a successful, long career who has been under 6 foot tall. Diego Pavia got to the combine and measured at 5'10". Everybody talked about Kenny Pickett and his small hands. Diego Pavia's hands measured at 9 5/8 inches, so not even 10 inches long. His athleticism score ranked third among quarterbacks. His production score ranked third among quarterbacks. And his combine QB rank ranked him second among combine quarterbacks. But the fact of the matter is that if he doesn't go through a positional transition to, say, running back, 5'10", 210-pound running back, that's perfect. We know he can do it on the ground. Unless he goes through a change like that, we see the struggles of Bryce Young being short. We see the struggles of Kyler Murray being short. Diego Pavia is shorter, and he does not have a path to fantasy relevance as a quarterback. And we kind of had that idea going in. People talked about how he's been around for a while, so he's older. Plus, he's small. But it was really the combine that everybody went, "Oh yeah, he is that small." You can't like, "Oh, he's 6 feet." No, he's 5'10", and there's no getting around it. And the combine basically was the dirt on the casket.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some questions about his character as well. Not easy to get along with, as far as coaching staff goes. So yeah, I mean, right there with you. He was hoping to see something better happen there at the combine. Obviously, his size is not something that you and I, bigz, have ever talked about being a good thing for a short quarterback. I mean, we've been talking about it in nauseum about Kyler Murray, and we've been up and down about Bryce Young, and Schultzy's been one of the first people out there talking about him and his not hate, but dislike for Bryce Young as a quarterback in the NFL. So yeah, I agree with this. I can't see it unless somebody takes a big stab at him and can develop him into something that can overcome those challenges. But seeing over the line is going to be tough, and we know that is.
And no offense to all the short kings out there, you guys be you, but you're just not going to be NFL quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
When do you see someone take a shot at trying like a Taysom Hill 2.0?
Well, there's rumors that that's Cole Payton this year, but
all right.
Well, let's talk about my faller here, and a guy that I was kind of looking at the combine to really, excel. His testing metrics as an athletic quarterback should have showed up in 2026 at the combine. But, the dual threat quarterback that is Jalon Daniels, who's grinding it out for years. He polished up, some solid rushing numbers and some flashes of some arm talent, and some folks think he could sneak into the later rounds. But I think that he's now, because of the combine, now a UDFA kind of guy. His college tape screamed mobility, open field playmaking with enough experience to suggest he could stick around as a backup or like a gadget guy in an offense. His official 4.65 40-yard dash at 6'1", 219. That's a middling speed for a guy that you would think would be a bit quicker as a rushing quarterback. A 1.63 second 10-yard split, showing like a limited quick twitch acceleration. That ranked around 33rd percentile among 40 tested quarterbacks. That's not great testing. His combine left more doubts than anything. He's going to be a deep league dart throw at best. We know that this draft class isn't great, especially at the quarterback position. There may be some steam after these pro days start wrapping up. A guy that might, steam up and get into the first round. We'll see. The Jets are, obviously with Geno Smith looking for somebody to develop behind him maybe now. That could be a Ty Simpson type scenario, dart throw here, knowing that they have a veteran guy in their arsenal here to develop a quarterback under, and they do have an early round draft pick and early second round as well. So that could, turn into a quarterback early, and that could really steam some draft capital up here. But Jalon Daniels is now a guy I'm not looking at, and this draft class is going to have to see something happen in the draft to have some guys pop off the page here. What are you guys thinking about this quarterback class and what you see?
Well, first of all, I want to address the tile because his name is spelled with an O, and I don't know where you got these stats from because he was at Kansas for 6 years. So I don't know if you want to.
Well, that might be the wrong stats on the board there.
Yeah, that's a different person. Hey, there's not a lot of really good quarterbacks in this class. We look at Jalon Daniels. He's only 6 foot tall. He does bring some rushing attack to the game. He had 3 years of over 400 rushing yards. That's still not as much as Jackson Dart. He had only 2 seasons where he had over 2,400 yards. I don't see it with him, and he's the kind of guy. It's harder for quarterbacks to go to the combine and become national news, and he certainly didn't.
All right. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next category here, and that is our running backs. And Biggs, you got a follower on your end, and I think Schultzy's he's got his fighting gloves on. I'm sure he's got something to say about one of his guys here, Robert Henry Jr. So why was he a faller for you at the combine, your Biggs, and explain your nationality, your rationale behind that.
So it was because of the pre-combine information that was coming out. Seeing that he had over 1,000 yards as in his 2025 season, I started to get really excited about him. And then the combine happened, and he's very small. He only measured at 196 pounds. That's not great as a profile. He came in with the 11th ranked production score and the 16th ranked athleticism score. So the athleticism is really, really hurting him. He had a 4.52 40-yard dash, which I don't put much stock in. His 37-inch vertical jump was not huge. 10-foot 4-inch broad jump was, he just does not have the explosive athleticism that you hope for. He came in as the total combine RB rank of 19, and I had higher hopes for him. I wanted him to come in and have, supreme athletic numbers where, this guy is explosive in space. We can bank on his athleticism and also his receiving ability, which he has shown. He can handle 20 catches a season. And I just didn't see that at the combine. Now, that doesn't mean, we've had guys who underperformed their expectations at the combine. Audric Estime, Kyron Williams. These are two guys that I've had on rosters in Dynasty that I was disappointed in when the combine came around. So it's not necessarily that I'm gonna not have any shares of Robert Henry Jr., but he went from I want this guy regardless of landing spot to let's see where this guy lands.
Schultzy, you've been revved up. What do you got?
The combine numbers aren't terrific. I'm not going to lie about that. The 7.47 RAS score is a little underwhelming, but it's greatly knocked by size, and that is a slight concern. That is a thing. His vertical and broad came out in the great category in the RAS score, so I'm not concerned there. The 40-yard dash, like I said, doesn't bother me. I watched him take a 77-yarder or something like that against Texas A&M, and outran everybody. For me, I'm just flag planting that what I saw on film with him, I'm willing to chalk this up as this may have been a bad day for him. And
sure.
I'm sticking to the film on him. To me, the film is really that good. There's a lot of special traits I think that can come out. And like I said when I talked to him before, it's possible he's nothing. I'm not flag planting that boom, this guy's going to be the best. But hey, when we're entering the third, fourth, fifth round, whatever, wherever he's going to end up fall come rookie draft time is he's never going to hit a price that I'm out on. And
sure.
And I think for that, I'm going to own a lot of him because of that.
Right. And we are both in agreement, in all aspects. What this reminds me of a lot is if you think back to Alec A. O'Manor last year, Alec A. O'Manor got some pre-combine steam, and everybody talked about how he absolutely torched Travis Hunter. And look at his totals. And this game he had over 200 yards receiving. And you kind of have to look at the whole picture instead of just the 70-yard run against Texas A&M, because that's brilliant. They're you can't argue that's that's not brilliant, and you can also use that to project. If that guy can do it against Texas A&M, he's probably going to be able to do it against an NFL defense at one point or another. And that's not really what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is that I hoped to see more from him, and I didn't. So again, he goes from somebody that I was going to, be taking everywhere based on the things that I had seen up to that point to somebody that I need to know that he's in a good situation before I take him over some other guys.
I think that's a fair assessment of it because yeah, it's about fallers, right? But for me, I'm just still unmoved by what he did at the combine.
That's fair.
It would have been nice to see a decent combine from him because he's from a small school, and relatively unheard of for the most part, under the radar here. I think that would have been nice to have a good showing there to put him a little bit more on fantasy radar, but also, NFL teams radar to get a little bit better draft capital. Probably a guy now that's going to go UDFA and see where the cookie crumbles there. And if you can get on a team with an opportunity, and you never know. Like I like what like Schultzy said, his explosiveness on tape from what I've seen has been really good. And I have him as my RB9 in this class because I still think that the upside there. I'm gonna bet on that explosiveness, especially after that a Texas A&M game, right, Schultzy?
Yep, I think that RB 9, 10, 11, right in that range I think that's pretty fair for him.
All right, let's move on to my faller, and the problem here for me here is Emmett Johnson, and a guy that I was so high on pre-draft process here and still am, but the combine revealed some situations here that I was hoping for a little bit better for this 3-down threat with elite vision, good patience, and those receiving chops that had him climbing up my board as a potential day 2 running back with starter upside. His production, it screamed volume back, and the tape backed it up.
Mike. That's the wrong one again.
I must not have changed it up. Oops. Oh well, it is what it is. Guys up there, you can't see the actual stats.
Don't look at the stats. Stats don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's just a guy that I liked a lot, missed tackles created, and, didn't have that long speed that I was looking for in that official 4, 5, 6, 40-yard dash, the slowest among the tested guys at the combine, that 7.32 3-cone drill landed him 30th percentile in agility, one of the only people to ever run it this year. And it shows that he's willing to do the testing, he's willing to show some of this stuff, and he's still one of my guys. He did slide down to my RB3 in this class behind Mike Washington now. But this screams like Bucky Irving all over again to me. The testing looked meh, but the vision, the balance, the hands, the PPR juice that made Bucky a stud, I think is going to happen here with Emmett, and I'm not going to get burned twice. I'm going to bet on that production, the stopwatch, whatever. I'm not worried about it. Some people do better not in a straight line and with pads on. So I'm going to bet on Emmett Johnson and what I've seen in his tape. I've studied him, and I think he's going to be a 3-down steal here at some point of his career, and I'm not going to let that speed or that long speed hurt his vision for me as a guy that could potentially be a PPR monster in the future as a RB2 with some spike weeks down the line.
There you go.
All right, let's move on to bigz' spotlight, and we're going to talk wide receivers because that's kind of like where the meat and potatoes are of this class. And let's get into the fallers, and you got a wide receiver here, bigz, that is a big name, and obviously he didn't go to the combine and test, but hearing he had a full healthy slate here at his medicals. So talk a little bit about your spotlight here, Schultzy. Let's get it rolling.
So Jordan Tyson is my faller. I don't like when guys go to the combine or don't test, don't do stuff. I didn't like Fernando Mendoza doing it, or not participating. I didn't like Caleb Williams not participating. It's not necessarily like huge red flags. It's just like, I don't know. It knocks people down a peg. So in a class where you have Mekhi Lemon and you have Denzel Boston and Carnell Tate, and Jordan Tyson was in the conversation with those guys went out and they put something on tape at the Underwear Olympics and dropped Tyson to my wide receiver 4. So while he is still in that upper echelon of the wide receivers, he has lost a little bit of rank in my estimation, and I will be willing to draft those other 3 guys before I draft Jordan Tyson, as much as I like him.
Who's your number 3 then?
Denzel Boston.
Oh, you like Denzel Boston quite a bit. Okay, yeah, you're a big Boston guy. You like that George Pickens-esque physique and style of play.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have different guys at that number 4 slot. The 1, 2, 3 is pretty solidified there for most people. I hear a lot of people talking about KC Concepcion steaming up to that 3 spot because Jordan Tyson, those injury concerns, really have some red flags or soft tissue. They're soft tissue not only, but soft tissue in college, which is always a big scare for me. So I'm a little bit highly concerned here about Jordan Tyson as well, bigz. So yeah, good call on that one.
I don't knock anybody for saying they don't like him as their wide receiver 1. Like I get the concern there, but to me, this feels like an absolute slam dunk wide receiver 3 pick if he's there for you. That like the upside is outrageous to me. If I'm in a draft and he's wide receiver 3 available, I'm not even thinking twice about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there. He is my wide receiver 3, and I've been kind of waffling between him and KC at this stage, and I have Omar Cooper as my wide receiver 5. So it's hard. I think just that elite ball tracking, and he can be a guy that could be elusive and that upper body strength too. Like it's one of those guys that if he hits, he's going to hit really good because of that talent barrier. But you're going to have those red flags about that soft tissue, and I think bigz hit it out right there. There's some issues there for him, and that's why I think he's suppressed in value. Right? I mean, last year at this time, he was probably the bona fide number 1 wide receiver headed into the 2025 college season, and slipped a bit because of that injury and the ascending talent of Malachi Lemon and Carnell Tate, who are both really, really, really great metrically as well. So yeah, I mean, both those guys outdid Jordan Tyson, and that's why they're firmly there for me too.
Well, Carnell Tate got a little bit of backlash after the combine also, and he could have been. I could have had him as my faller, but I would have spoken about it more in terms of in the eyes of the community rather than my own. And so the way that I took the assignment was who I slipped down my rankings, who fell for me in my own personal rankings based on the combine. And, I talked a lot about Jaden Ott and the fact that he didn't get a combine invite. He just did his pro day yesterday. And if he had gotten an invite to the combine, his broad jump vertical would have been first or second at the combine among all running backs. So there's the explosiveness you're looking for. And then his 40 time was, competitive, 4.42. So he didn't get a chance to go out there. Some people had the chance to go out there and they didn't do it. Other people didn't need to. Denzel Boston, Malachi Lemon, and Carnell Tate didn't need to go to the combine. They didn't need to participate. But it's part of the pre-draft process. It's something that at this point is expected. And
Carnell Tate, he may have slipped on some people's boards, but not mine. I mean, he can't run a straight line super fast in his underwear. Like, I mean, there's guys that I compare him to, and as far as his metrics go, like a Mike Evans, and I see him not needing to run that kind of speed to be effective downfield, bully people out of the way. And Carnell Tate's a guy that I just see him being able to separate to at a really high level as well. So
Devontae Adams.
Yeah, exactly. I love what I see there. Yeah, exactly. Devontae Adams, another guy, didn't run a really fast 40, and look where he came because he could separate. He's smart with the ball. He can win in contested catch situations because of his size, and yeah, I love it. All right, let's
Antonio Brown run like a 4.5 as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, these are 3 guys that 40 didn't matter, and it could be another one.
Generational, like the 3 of us.
We talk about helmet scouting too, and we gotta not so much do it, but Ohio State, they've scouted. He's got the pedigree, and sometimes you just got to bet on it. So yeah. Now let's talk about my spotlight, a guy that all of us have kind of really steamed up this offseason, and guys that we kind of like the physique of, but didn't do too well at the combine, which might be okay for us as drafters. Let's hit it. Well, this is a guy that it was a tough one here because, he did so well at the Senior Bowl. He pretty much put himself on the map in a big way. He was flashing that big-bodied boundary dominance from Notre Dame with red zone physicality, that ball skills and contested catch wins that had him surging toward day 2 buzz as one of those mismatch nightmares. His size, strength screamed high upside wide receiver 2/3 in the right scheme, especially his ability to win at the catch point. The testing at the combine confirmed the power, but flagged the long speed and the quickness that is needed to consistently create that separation in a stacked wide receiver class full of burners. It cools this alpha projection a bit, pushing him, towards the possession red zone, specialist rather than an early down threat. 4.61, 40-yard dash near the bottom of the class. And I know we talked about that with Carnell Tate, but a guy like, Fields, I think he needs to be a bit quicker because a lot of his game is winning on the outside, and you can't just win off of your body control. It'll take him a little bit of time to develop if that's the case. So I think a guy like him still got a lot of potential in the NFL because of his size and what he's shown at the Senior Bowl. But, this limits his upside now, I think, as far as starting right away, because I think it's going to deplete his draft capital a little bit and make him having to work a little bit harder to get into the starting lineup. I know, Schultzy, you were a big Malachi Fields guy, so what's your take on his combine, and are you worried about it now?
I mean, it is a little disappointing. He does fall some for me, but part of the nice part is his game's not predicated on like being super athletic. Now you do want him to be some, and when you watch the film on him, he's got some yak juice, and like he can make a guy miss. And so I don't know, this one's intriguing to me. I'm not like 100% sure like where I'm at with this information still. I do knock him down a little bit. It is somewhat concerning because you do wonder about the separation against these NFL receivers some. But then when you watch the tape, you watch him go over the top on all these guys and have all these awesome ball skills and body control in the air and stuff. But I think maybe you hit it on the nail on the head, Mike, that maybe we need to temper the expectations to this. Hey, maybe this guy's going to be a really solid role player, but he's not going to be like an every down usage guy.
Yeah, so I came out of the combine with a similar score for Fields to Las Vegas Raiders legend Brendan Rice. Fields is a couple inches taller than Rice was, but Rice was a little bit faster in the 40. Fields was a little bit more explosive in the vertical and broad. But it's a very similar situation to me. I'm going to reiterate, and when we talked about Fields before, I really didn't like the fact that he chose to go back to school for 1 year and transfer to Notre Dame. I don't think that helped him very much, except for his changing role. But similar to Las Vegas Raiders legend Brendan Rice, I feel like he's going to be a day 3, 6th or 7th round guy, project. Draft him in taxi squad leagues, make him a priority free agent after your drafts are complete. I like him. I like him a lot, but he didn't help himself at the combine.
Yeah, there's tools there that make you say, hey, if he's hanging around in the 4th or 5th round of my draft, I'll take a shot.
Or if he goes undrafted and
right.
You have some garbage to get off your roster, grab him and throw him on the taxi squad.
He's got some things that, teams may be looking at too. So you never know. He may get to some surprising capital that may steam him up as well. And, it all really depends on the draft capital at this stage, whether or not they're going to get starting value right away out of the gate, or if they're going to have to work their way up a depth chart. And, unfortunately for Fields, I think that's going to be the battle here, unless something surprisingly happens. And the draft is known to have some of those surprises in the field. Fields is a guy that fits kind of like that prototype that might fit into a mold that a team will take a chance on because of that.
And if anybody's wondering, like, well, why do you bring up Brendan Rice when you're talking about Malachi Fields? It's because if you think back to Brendan Rice's draft and his combine performance and everything, one of the things that I noted about his combine performance was that he was more athletic than his father, Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver that ever played in the NFL. So athleticism and speed and all that stuff aren't the whole picture. So there is a path to success for Malachi Fields. And the way that we can judge that is the fact that Brendan Rice was more athletic than his dad, who is the best wide receiver of all time. So, you can win in different ways, not just with combine results.
Yeah. And folks, that's it for us today, but we got a lot going on here at the network. We just dropped the 2026 Rookie Prospect Guide on Monday, and you can get it at the FSAN merch shop, but also find it on Amazon and Kindle, wherever you find your readables, and be sure to check it out because a lot of great intel went into that guide, and bigz was a big contributor into that, and he prospected over 10 guys, and it's a huge undertaking, and hope everybody gets a leg up on their competition by taking it. Bigz, take us home like you always do. So good.
Okay, guys, let's go home.
All right, let's go home.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the bell. Hit us up in the comments. Do promote the video. Share it around. Share the links in your socials and stuff like that. Let's get some exposure. Ask us questions in the chat. Let's get the chat going, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. All of that good stuff. Sharks just scored a goal. 2-0 up on Boston. Let's go, Macklin Celebrini. Sorry, it's a football show. And I'm just so excited about Macklin Celebrini. You have no idea. Like, to have a Sidney Crosby or Wayne Gretzky and call him your own is just incredible. Okay, we hope you win.
Hope you win, folks. We'll see you next week.